sweet sound of dehumidifiers. Finally, on day 35, we have some kit. We've been given 2 dehumidifiers and 2 heaters, but we do look a little bit like a building site. At least there is some progress here. So I'm going to show you something I forgot to mention the other day. Back to the entrance hall, was that when we moved in this place, I did mention that it was Magnolia Heaven, but actually this part here was roped off. There was a painting on the wall, and then this bit was roped off. So you couldn't actually walk through this section. You had to go through here, which is what was called the Great Hall. These signs were created by the previous owner, and this one is quite an interesting one. The Servants and the Butler's Hall. According to the locals, she used to have a butler, and he used to be wheeled out when they had guests, and he would stand in the porch with his bowler hat on, his black suit, white shirt and tie, and just be a butler for the guests. So now I think we're going to have a look in the Great Hall. We'll explore that in great detail. Oh, there we go. Another heater. At least we have warmth. So we've had 35 days of being cold, because in a house like this, the walls are not typical. So I'll just show you, for example, in this room here, the Great Hall, how thick these walls are. And this does have an effect, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. But this room is where we actually spend every Friday night, and have done since we moved in. We can't tonight, but I thought I'd just give you a flavour of what this room is like. We love the ambience of the room, and takes us back to what it would have been like without electricity. Now, if we move over here, you'll see there is a stone wall, and it's very, very thick. Now, this is great on the one hand, but not on the other, because the problem is that whilst these 6 walls will insulate you in the cold, they keep out the warmth in the summer. So I'm just going to take the seat I always do on a Friday and tell you this. Yeah, so it's constantly 10 degrees in this house. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing outside, it's 10 degrees. So the one thing I love about this is in the summer, we've got these shutters completely closed. We come in here, there's no light pollution, you've got your candles on. Imagine a lovely glowing fire. Unfortunately, that's all upside down trying to dry. A lovely glowing fire. It was 10 degrees when you come in, so it doesn't matter what that temperature's doing out there, you still need a coal fire every single week. And I like the magic of it, because you just come in and this is your Friday. On a bank holiday in August, this is still your Friday night. And it's just so peaceful and just lovely to come home to. Now, this room we think was probably one of the original rooms in the house, and it's got the most stunning oak panelling. You can see it up there. I did bring a torch so we can look at this in a bit more detail. The crafting is amazing. Woodwork that would have gone into this to put this here. If you look at the top, it's a big frieze. It goes all the way around. The frieze does. We're not too sure about the ceiling, to be honest, but that's going to have to be changed. You can see the frieze up there. Now, if you look next to that little plaque, you will notice there's a hook. And we believe that in the day, all these hooks, there was some fabric attached to it. What sort of fabric, we don't know, but there was some fabric attached. And this would have made the walls much more insulated and warm. You can see in this room, we have military uniforms. So just to give you a clue, it's not me, but one of us is very much into military history, and hopefully in the not too near future there will be some more information provided by the man of the house regarding these uniforms. I can tell you briefly, this one is a Royal Chelsea pensioner, and he would have lived in the Royal Chelsea Hospital in Chelsea in London. This one here is quite special because there's a name inside here. We can reveal that when we take the buttons off. And this man, he trooped the colour in London. So he's quite special. I don't know too much about the helmets. That's going to be the man of the house that will tell you about those. One little thing I can share though is when we first started using this room, wasn't me, but there was a little accident. Somebody decided to put a candle underneath this frame, and look, it's set on fire. So there we were. I turned around and goes, the house is on fire, the manor's on fire. And this is the night that the entire place could have burnt down. Luckily, we blew the candle out, but we've decided not to restore that, just as a reminder to ourselves that when we come in here on a Friday, the last thing we want to do is put the candle under there, because that is just a disaster waiting to happen. Here we have some more helmets. They're all sort of from period armour, and I just love how they glow in the candlelight. It's really nice. They are quite hard work. They have to come off the stands, they have to be cleaned, and then a special sort of wax is put on them so that they maintain their sheen and stay like that. This man here, this is our first ever suit of armour. When we came to view the house, there was one that was a rather rusty bucket standing here. We did own one suit of armour at the time, so he was the first one to arrive. This one is called Gort, and I do believe he's a typical English medieval soldier. But as I say, I don't know too much about the historical stuff, so that will be for the man of the house to give you the tour of the armour at some point. He's just a medieval man. It's a real suit of armour. It's real chainmail, so it's very, very heavy to wear, and not so good if you've got a hairy chest. We did have a bit of an accident with that, but that's perhaps another tale. So I'm going to show you the fireplace now, and perhaps if I light that up it'll be better for you to see. In there, very black, that's how many fires we've had. At the back there is a backplate, and somebody seems to have chiselled out the wall to get the backplate in, which is a bit strange. I've had no fire in here since the flood, and it's still wet. The fire dogs, they got covered in mud, as did our lovely beet eater, which again is something you have to do regular maintenance on, sort of spray on some protectant to stop him going rusty, candlestick covered in mud, my coal bucket covered in mud. Yep, so these are just all the ornaments that we've got, and taxidermy as well. The cupboard there is jammed shut, must have expanded with the flood. I'll just give you another quick look round this room and our deep dive, and when we get it back to normal, then we will come back in here with the fireplace going and glowing, so you can at least enjoy that